Who's this Jimmy?
Jimmy Lewis.
Who you talking about? Jimmy something? Jimmy Witherspoon?
Nobody knew who he was.
Lewis.
Jimmy.
Who's this Jimmy?
Lewis.
Jimmy.
Who's this Jimmy?
Jimmy Lewis.
Who's this Jimmy?
Lewis.
Who's this Jimmy?
Lewis. Lewis. Jimmy Lewis. Lewis. Jimmy Lewis. 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 Jimmy Lewis. Lewis. Jimmy Lewis. Lewis.
It just kept on doing.
Welcome to Tech Talk Taco Tuesday, live from the shop This is Tequila Tech Talk Taco Tuesday. So that's an extra T, but it's still got a T in it. And this is Tonight in the Shop, we'll call it. So welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining in. This is like episode 270. I undershot last time, but then I've got like 3 on the backlog to edit. My name is Jimmy Lewis. I answer your motorcycle and motorcycle product related questions. My job here is to do penance for my incredible experiences that I've lived my life on dirt bikes behind bars. So happy everybody to have you here. If you're here, go ahead and let us know where you're from, where you're in the chat. Just type it into the chat. If you're watching on a platform you can't chat, well, then you can't ask questions, and that's part of what this show is about. Got a pretty cool little setup tonight. I just got my bike back from Baja. So I basically rode my bike most of the way down the peninsula. We'll just say from San Felipe all the way down to Cabo San Lucas. Then we sort of lost our bikes because we hopped on an airplane and flew back. The bikes worked their way back. Well, they're supposed to catch the truck that was going to take them across the border, but the truck that was taking them broke down, and then a lot of stuff happened. So I got the bikes back today. So I got my KTM 500 right back here. I washed it. I drained the oil, and I pulled the air filter out. It's sitting right here, and the oil drain stuff is right here. And I'm going to talk a little bit about this stuff and answer your questions, show you some stuff. I've got my bike is literally packed the same way I finished the ride. And I even have my backpack that I was carrying, my Climb knack pack with all the stuff in it. If you want me to go through that, I can kind of set it out on the table here. I can even use this other camera over here, this camera right here that likes to follow my hand. And I can do stuff here, or I can do stuff down. It likes to follow this hand. I can do some stuff over there. It's all automated. I've got quite possibly the most technologically advanced show run by a moron on the internet that you know of. So, hey, San Felipe Bob. He's there in SoCal. Mark Daniels. Oh, and it wouldn't be Tech Talk Taco Tuesday without a little tequila. I'll show you what I got. This is pretty cool. Also from Baja. And that's where we're at tonight. So thanks for joining in. Like I said, I have the chat up on my computer screen here. When it looks like I'm looking at my nostrils, because my main screen is up kind of in the corner of the shop, and I glance back towards that. And then my other screen is over here. And then hopefully, between doing these and this one here, I can talk to you. But as always, this show is not possible without help some of my dirt bike tests. Amazing sponsors. Of course, that's Yamaha. Check out my 2005 YZ125 that I keep threatening to replace with a brand new one. But I didn't. I haven't yet. So if you're looking for a new Yamaha, kind of like I am, I got a really nice WR right there. And then there's a WR250 over there. Then there's YZ250FX that's mine. And then there's a YZ250F test bike out there that I'm getting ready to go. So, and Victor says, live from Prump, Jimmy Lewis, Nora race director, ask questions about Nora, tequila, and dirt bikes. Now, I did the Nora meeting last night. And so if you want to do the best Baja race ever, come and do Nora. It's really simple. It's a 6-day rally. I'm the race director, and I don't really do much training anymore, but I'm going to offer free rally training for that. It's like more than $1,000 value. So that's what that is. Go to nora.com for all the info, and we're probably going to be dropping some pretty big press releases pretty soon. But we announced all the information in the meetings last night, and it's today in the shop. It's actually, George, it's tonight in the shop. It's tequila in the shop. So let me get to that real quick. See how this See how this thing works here. Tequila in the shop. So interestingly enough, my buddies at Rabaconda went down to Baja also. They went with Baja Bound and went on a tour, and I set them up. It was like a blind date that I set these guys up on with Tim Morton and Baja Bound. And they had such a good time. They made it's a good tequila, and we'll have to find out, I guess. Shoot, I don't have my knife. I'm reaching for my knife right now, and it's not in my pocket. Oh, here it is, right here. Got it. So here's the knife, and we'll get into this. It wouldn't be a proper shop without a little bit of. Oh yeah, that's a good sound. And I don't exactly have a. Oh wait, I do have shot glasses. I was just gonna do it. I was gonna do it in this here, which I will. So cheers, everybody. I hope everybody's having a great Tuesday night, because I know I am. And so delicious. Other sponsors of this show are there. People that have helped us out. They are all in the up in the corner, up in the little box up in the corner. You can see a lot of the people that help out in Dirt Bike Test. If you're wondering what we've been up to, Trevor raced a KLX 300 in a National Hare and Hound. He finished. I don't know what place he got. Maybe we'll call him later. He talked about it last time, I think, but I don't remember. I'll have to watch the video as well. And hey, Crazy Mark is in the house also. So good to see everybody tonight. So again, I'll kind of let you know on what we have here. I have my KTM 500 that I'll go to the other camera here. That just got back from Baja, and it's had the oil drained out of it. And it is really, if I needed to go ride this bike again right now, I would put the oil back in, put the filter back in, put a new air filter in it, and call it good. So it didn't take much, but I wish I could zoom in. Oh, tequila got me there, didn't it? I got to learn how to drink better. So I have my oil filter, and this is actually the Taco Moto magnetic oil filter. I'll explain why I put that in the bike. I have my magnet, and I'm going to clean these off in front of you. So this bike has a lot of mileage on it. I'm going to go actually check right now and see what it might say on the odometer. And the bad thing is I've run a lot of different wheels, and some of the wheels don't have magnets on them. And so sometimes it doesn't get the reading, but I'm going to go look to see if I can get this guy to, let's see here. Come on. Turn it on here. Let's see if I can get it to. There we go. Yeah, there's no oil in it, by the way. Okay. Come on. My battery might be dead. Let's see what happens here. Oh, it's going to want to do this. It's going to play this game with me. Shoot, I'm not going to be able to get the hours. It's a lot of hours. It's over. Well, let's see. It got a Wiseco piston at 443 hours. So at about 12,000 miles and 443 hours, it has a Wiseco in it. And that's 2 Baja trips since then. And I learned something else. So I think I talked about this. It was using a little bit of oil. And I was trying to figure out where it went. And there is basically, I have it right here. I have it sitting right here. This is the cam bearing and the seal that goes up against this cam bearing. And maybe I can use the other camera to show it a little bit better, because it'll kind of zoom in here. So come on, here's my hand. There we go, buddy. So this, let's see where it zooms in here. There we go. So this seal and this cam bearing, and the only reason I took the cam bearing out is because to get the seal out, you got to take it out. It's because the seal's behind it. And so on the KTM, when it's the crankcase pressure goes through some holes in the cam through here as the cam's spinning, and then up and out the valve cover, and then into the airbox. And I will show you an air filter here real quick. So this is my air filter. Again, this is one. I didn't change my filter the whole time. Water washable air filter oil, and the reason it's like this is the way it sits in the bike, and the reason why it's here is you can see where I hit it with the pressure washer a little bit when I was washing it, because I was blasting all of the dirt out of the bottom of the airbox. But that's the backside, not too bad but I don't ride in the dust. And here's the front, and you can see this oil mist that's all around here. And so when you're running the bike kind of hard, there's a lot of oil spray inside the motor, and that oil is like in a vapor, and as the motor's breathing, this oil goes out, and you can see that it's actually spraying it out. On this trip, I was using about 100 cc's of oil for every, we'll say, 4 gallons of gas that I was burning. So every day and a half, I was putting in 200 cc's of oil. And before, I was actually putting in quite a bit more. On this bike, I replaced this bearing and this seal, and the bearing is fine. It gets a little damaged when it comes out, and I replaced this seal, and it was, you can feel it. It was actually kind of hard and cooked, and that's where a large portion of my oil was going. Because I need to have a little bit more of this. Because which hand does it want to follow? Okay. It was blown out a little bit more because that seal was bad, and it creates kind of a vacuum back there. So anyways, thank you, Charles Girsha over at KTM, for learning me that kind of a thing. So I'm going to go right into the comments, and yeah. Devil's Rumble 71 says, Ariete is a great tequila. Arita. And I said, Ariete. But I can barely spell normal names. So, Arita. Got it. Thank you. I like to learn a little bit. But Candy Sofax says, I just got back from Ocotillo. My 24 KTM with 25 hours on it seemed to want to stall more than normal unless I gave it a little more gas than before. First gear only. Any idea why? So my idea on why would be that maybe my first thing is, and you'll learn this if you watch the show, I always go back to ask, what was the last thing you did to the bike? Did you change something on the bike from when it was running perfectly? And then that will generally be your problem. But I'm going to run down the couple things that I think of that just cross my head. Sometimes the air filter gets over oiled, and that oil gets onto either the crank, the oxygen sensor, or some kind of a sensor. That I've seen that happen before, or just the filter is over oiled and it just isn't sucking the right amount of air, makes it difficult. The other thing is the throttle position sensor, so the TPS, sometimes that gets bumped, banged, knocked out of whack, and especially at the idle. And I don't know why it would be first gear only. And that's why I started saying throttle position sensor, because some of those bikes have different maps for different gears. And if it's a 350 EXC, it would be more prone to that than, like, let's say a 350 SX, because sometimes they have different maps for different conditions and whatnot. And then did in some way, shape, or form could the idle adjust knob and or the cold start or hot start knob on the bottom of the carburetor, could those have been knocked or played with? Those would be the things that I think of. And so, Candy, if you have any questions about that, let me know. It's really strange that it's first gear only. But a lot of times, when you're going in first gear, you're expecting to be slower, and that's where the bike would naturally stall. So hopefully that kind of helps answer the question. Mark Daniels asks, so your take on the Taco mother of oil filter. So this is what I have right here. Again, I will see if I can get this camera to come over here. Come here, buddy. So this is the oil filter. I'm going to switch over to the other camera right here. This is it's a very strong magnet, and it replaces this and another sleeve that goes inside of the oil filter encasement, replaces the standard oil filter. And so it's using magnetic forces to grab the parts that are bad. And this is the way it came out. You can see where I touched it or I bumped it. Well, come on, bud, back over here. Go to the other camera. So you can see where I touched it or I bumped it, the rings that are on it. I'm going to switch this other light on. I made this light here so that, there we go. Look at that. I made this light so you can see stuff a little bit better. So you can see these rings. And so I'm pretty sure that the oil that I was running, and I started with a new oil, and I'm pretty sure that it was Dello 1540. And the only other one it could have been would have been Motul 15. Let me see. But I don't think it was the Motul. I think I put the Dello back in. The Motul 15W50, which is it's called their 300X. But I think that I put brand new Dello in it just because I know it's indestructible and it's safe. And this is what came out of this. So I'm going to wipe this filter right now and start talking to you what I think about this filter. So I think this filter is essentially overkill for most applications. So I just took a pretty much brand new cloth and wiped this stuff off. There's nothing in there in this oil that's any bigger than, there's no chunks, there's no pieces. It's just like it's a small film. And every time I so our ride was, I think about 1,600 total miles by the time we were done. And I guess, and I didn't change the oil. I was just adding oil when it was kind of going away. And I don't think that, that on a motor that's been running for a long time, that's not a problem. And then when I take this, and I can kind of see it now when I look at it in the light, if I shine it on the light, you can tell that those are, it's a metallic, it's almost like a powder, I guess, but it's kind of wet, it's with the oil. And so now if I wipe this over here on the cloth, you get nothing. Actually, it's completely clean. The magnet is super strong. Anything that's metallic will not pass through this. If you have stuff that's aluminum, and here's the problem, this is not going to stop the aluminum. And generally when aluminum goes, it means because you've run out of oil. What I do with this filter is I diagnose the health of my motor, because bearings are metal and gears are metal, and those are the things that can start causing some problems. Pistons are aluminum. Cylinder walls are basically a coating on aluminum. Those can also cause problems. And when you're doing this, you're not going to get the aluminum is non-ferrous metal, so it's not going to stick to this. So I don't run this all the time. I put it in there and I kind of, see how much metal comes out. It tells me, because this is that's all part of my motor. that's wear. That's, from the pin or the surfaces on the crank journals, on the cam lobes, in the bearings. But there's no pieces. If you have pieces, you're in trouble. But it kind of shows me how much is there. And when it's a consistent amount, I'm fine. I pull this out, I put a normal stock filter back in. And then when I take a stock filter, and I think I've shown this before, and I'll grab one. I do have one that's pleated here. Let me see. I don't know if I have one that's, usually I have one as a demo someplace around here, but I don't see one right now. When I take the normal filter out, I pull it out and I slice it and I pull it and I open it. You can find this on one of our, someplace on dirt bike tests. Open it up and I see the aluminum in there. And sometimes I'll backwash it with a contact cleaner and stuff. So again, here is the regular drain plug. Again, another magnet. And I will show you on this camera over here again. So this is the drain plug. I know it's kind of hard to see, especially my awesome camouflage bulletproof designs jacket. So focus on that. This is the drain plug. This is the way it came out. There's not much metal in there. And so I'm going to wipe it off here, pull it off. Thing's perfectly clean. And you get the same, it's this part right up here. You get the same sort of stuff that you're seeing on there. So the magnets are doing their job. They're pulling stuff out. There's no pieces. The bike isn't making any kind of noises that would do that. So now at this point, I'm totally happy. The other thing is I could go, and I'm going to go do this right now. I'm going to go pull the screen out. So this is the other drain plug, and there's the screen in there. And so if there's anything else that's floating around there that's big, this screen will catch it because it's where the oil pump draws it in. So I'm going to run over here, grab my trusty backwards pliers, pull this guy out. And I haven't seen this yet, but you will see it at the same time that I do. Here is, go to the camera. Here it is. Here it is. This is my filter coming out, and it looks basically, perfect. I'm not even going to clean that off. I'm going to slide that sucker right back in there. I don't see any form of debris or anything like that. I can see like some microscopic, like little pieces of, there's some tiny little specks of aluminum, maybe a couple, but really nothing in there. So this is the stuff I look for when I'm doing the the maintenance, and this is what I do. I come back, wash the bike, and put it on there. So kind of happy with this stuff. I don't know if I'll throw it back in there right now, because the other thing that I need to do, because it's been about 50 or 70 hours, is the clutch dampers. So I usually write it here with a paint pen. I'll write down the dampers and stuff like that. Like right now it tells me I did the oil in 12 because I prepped it before the new year. It says 12 of 25 for the oil. And then usually on there also on the other side, I have a number that says I put D, and then I'll put a number, the hours that I put the dampers in. But this bike, since it has 50, 70, 80 hours on those dampers, they might have been done when I think they were done like one oil change after I did the top end. And they're starting to make a little bit of noise. I have the dampers right here. A lot of times I use Recluse dampers. I'll swing by over here real quick and show you what they look like. So I have a little baggie with the clutch dampers in here, and ready to, it's like a 10-minute job. You pop off the clutch basket, throw these guys in here, and then that will do it. The way I can isolate the damper noise is a lot of times when it's just idling, you kind of pull in the clutch and put it in gear, and you can hear because it puts a little bit of drag on it, and then the dampers kind of quiet back up. But that's all sort of ready to go the next time. So back to the questions. Let's see. So let's see. I talked about the oil filter. Again, I use it to kind of diagnose the health of the motor, Mark. So that's what it is. What this is like, and they're not cheap. I think they're a couple $100. And I need to get a new O-ring for this guy because it goes in and out so many times. This O-ring is weeded. The way that I treat this, like I said, if I were a group of guys and you all had a KTM that's running a similar oil filter, I'd buy one of these and then just rotate it around. It's the same thing I would do if I had a group of riding buddies. I would buy a fuel injector cleaner. It's expensive, but if everybody buys it, it ends up being like $30 or $40, and then you just share it around when it's needed. So I'm a cheapskate. I try to get the maximum out of my my dollars and everything like that. I'm lucky because on the motorcycle side, a lot of these companies will help me out and promote it so I can talk about it and explain what it's good for. But if you're a guy that just wants to have the best of everything, get one of these, stick it in your motor, run it, and then if it finds something that you're not happy with, it's time to rebuild it. That's a 700, 800 hour KTM 500. And the only reason I pulled the cam out, and the valves were all within spec, by the way. They were just on that. They're just a little bit on the tight side of the range, but they're still in spec, was to pull that cam bearing and the seal out that I talked about. So there we go. Here we go. And Utah Desert Rider says, thanks for the vids, Jimmy. You're welcome. Thanks for supporting the channel and watching. Tell a friend, because it's crazy. We don't do enough promotion on some of the stuff that we do, but it's crazy that we're a 24,000 subscriber channel and our videos are getting 50 and 60,000 views. Subscribe. Get your friends to subscribe, because when I go talk to somebody and they say, hey, well, how many subscribers do you have? I'm like, I don't know. So it was like almost 25,000. I don't know. Maybe I'll get a little star or something like that. But between the Facebooks and the YouTubes and Instagrams and things like that, we got a few people out there watching our stuff. Sikapanitsky says, my buddy has a 23,501. Okay. So he just expects that I know that that's a Husky, right? It vibrates like crazy. Anything he can do to reduce it, felt mostly through the pegs. So my question to you is, what is he comparing it to? There are some bikes that vibrate more than others, and then there's a lot of reasons for that extra bit of vibration. Hold on one second. I got to have a little bit more of my Arita. Spectacular. So having a drinking problem tonight. Get that filter out of the way because I'm going to put my arm in it. And my nice new Bulletproof Designs camouflage jacket. Thanks to Bulletproof for helping us out. Let's see. So vibration is kind of subjective thing. And then you have to decide, okay, is it engine? Is it the vibration caused by the engine? So the way to do this is to ride it on some place that's smooth and try shifting the gears and see if at low RPMs it's different than it's at higher RPMs, and see if it's different in different gears. Because if it seems like it's wheel speed generated vibration, from the wheels hopping, that's a whole different thing. And, and like you said, if it's through the foot pegs versus through the seat or through the whole bike, there's all these different things. But I'll tell you how to tell it. So identify where it's coming from, because if it's the wheels and you're sensitive, balance your wheels. If it's engine vibration, it could be something as simple as some loose engine mount bolts, or not properly torqued bolts or swing arm pivot. The headset it's crazy when a headset isn't properly torqued, how much that can affect the vibration of the bike. But if it's genuinely just the motor, and I will tell you that those motors are relatively smooth and most people don't complain about them. I don't notice it at all, but I have heard that people say that the Huskies vibrate more than both the KTMs and the gas gases. So maybe you've got a sensitive buddy. So to reduce it, Fasst Company makes a set of foot pegs. Their impact foot pegs. They actually have a damper inside of the foot pegs. I have them on a couple of the adventure bikes out here. I wish I had a set that I could go grab real quick, but they're upstairs. But Fasst Company has foot pegs that have dampers in them that will definitely reduce the vibration that you feel. It's got an elastomer in it. I actually notice the vibration more than the impact force that they absorb more, because I actually feel like the soles of my boots do a fair amount of that. So that's one thing. If it's through the handlebars, BRP makes a mount. I don't think the Fasst Company Flex handlebars do a whole lot for the vibration. I think they do more for impact absorption. There is a company that makes, why am I drawing a blank on my name? If you can remember the name of the company that makes the other, they're really popular in GNCCs, Mako 360. The Mako 360 can kind of take out some of the handlebars. The BRP mounts, which I usually use in conjunction with my Scott steering stabilizers, those, depending on the elastomers you use, can reduce vibrations in certain range of the bike. So there's lots of things you can do. But the things to start with, make sure it's not your wheels that are causing vibration. Make sure your chain's not worn out. I've had chains that are super worn out that make the bike vibrate. My cat wants a little snap of the tequila right now. Somebody want a little tequila, bud? Yeah, you were on the promo for the show last week, and now you're going to hang out here with us. So make sure the chain isn't worn out, and then check the torques of all of your engine mount bolts and your swing arm pivot, and make sure your headset is greased properly and is proper tight, because a loose headset will do that. So, okay. Aaron Pressod 1003 says, is a YZ450 FX a good bike for gravel and open semi-rocky terrain, or a beta? Also, 4-stroke or 2-stroke in that type of scenario. Since where I live, it's mostly open and sand dunes. Thank you. So, Aaron, tell me where you're from. That'll help me, because I've ridden pretty much every place on the face of the earth, and I can get an idea of kind of, because some people's description of the terrain isn't all that great. But a YZ450 FX is the only bike for you because it's a Yamaha. Yamaha sponsors this show, by the way. No. A YZ450 FX is a great bike if you're looking for kind of that aggressive, the really fun, aggressive, powerful. Like that's the things that Yamaha kind of built into the YZ450 FX. It's a bike you can take to the track. It's a bike that you can ride around. You can trail ride it. It's not the most comfortable. And when you start going in the sand dunes, they're insane. Like I have a WR450, which is, mine's like an FX, because I have the competition ECU. So my motor runs just like the FX, if not a little bit harder, just based on the way I've tuned it. By the way, the good thing about the YZ line, any 4-stroke, is you get the Yamaha Power Tuner app. That's as simple as you go and download it, and it's really easy. You download the app, you have it on your phone, which I'm going to show you right now. I got to find it because I move my apps around on my phone. You have it right here. And with this, I can tune, not the 2-stroke, I can tune my YZ, and I can tune my other WR, and I can tune all the different things. I have all these different custom maps. It's pretty cool to see these different different things, and it's literally trying to connect. See, I have this map inside of there, and I can show a graph of the map. Where is the graph? Here we go. Hard to do right now while I'm trying to run a show, and I bored my cat. Maybe I bored you too. That's why there's only 33 million people watching this show right now. But so the two-stroke and four-stroke in that type of scenario. So on the gravel, I like a four-stroke better because it's more planted. It doesn't dance around as much. Two-strokes tend to be a little lighter on their wheels and on gravelly stuff, but in dunes, it's kind of, in sand, it's kind of a personal preference. The four-stroke has such a much longer power band, a longer power spread. You don't have to shift as much, and it's a little bit easier to ride, a little less work. Where the two-stroke, you're constantly kind of shifting. Although the more technical stuff, if you're riding really, really technical stuff, the two-stroke power delivery these days is really good. And then that compared to a Beta. So Beta prides themselves on what they call, and I agree with, rideability. So Betas typically have a smoother, a more linear power band. They don't have a lot of snap and aggression. Some people call it slow. It's not slow. It's rideable, and you just turn the throttle farther. And Beta makes a lot of different sizes and a lot of different characteristics. Each bike kind of has its own little, way of kind of feeling in these different conditions. So, but Betas are really good bikes. So the more open and the more sandy, the more I like the Yamaha, because that snappy, aggressive power, especially in the sand, you don't feel it as much because that type of stuff loads the bike up, and that snappy power works really good. So and then Chip Sukupazukininski, he's comparing his bike, and he was talking earlier. I'm trying to think of what he was asking about. Oh, the 501, and he's comparing it to his 24 300. Oh man, yeah, no comparison. So your 24 300, your 300 XC is a counterbalance two-stroke. So it's turning generally the two-stroke. Yeah, it kind of depends how you're riding it, but two-stroke just they don't vibrate anymore. The KTMs are ridiculous on how good they are with no vibration because of that counterbalancing. So yeah, and it doesn't have the kind of the extra power stroke that the four-stroke is doing when it's not making power. Adds a little bit of that vibration feel and things like that. So yeah, you can't really compare a two-stroke to a four-stroke in vibration, especially kind of on the Austrian side of things. If you had like a Beta or a Yamaha two-stroke, you would probably get a little bit more vibration out of it, and that's it. So Mark Daniels replied to Mark Daniels, and he said, "Thanks for the input." Thanks, Mark. Let's see. Beam Echo says, "I have one of those magnetic filters. I like it. Mine is black and it faded a lot from the heat. I recommend buying the plain raw metal version versus anodized." So, yeah, it's a little faded, but not much. I don't know if the heat would fade it. If if you're getting something hot enough to fade anodization, try that again. Anodization, yeah, anodizing. If you're getting it hot enough to fade the anodizing, you're running your motor pretty damn hard. So yeah, and then anodizing's tricky. I know people that work they're making parts, and that's one of their big concerns. Whether the sunlight's hitting it, which is usually the number one thing, and stuff like that. And he says, I might run the OEM filter for a bit and then go back to the magnetic. I was not concerned about the aluminum until you mentioned it. Ha ha. I try to think about that stuff. I mean, the good thing about the aluminum is that it's not going to do a whole lot of damage. It's softer, so it's not going to grind stuff up. But you want to catch it. You want to see, if somehow your piston is shedding material, or your clutch basket or your clutch material is shedding material, things that are doing that. You kind of want to see that stuff. I use my oil changes. I don't change my oil just to change the oil. I do an engine health on that sort of thing. And I change my oil a lot less probably than most people. My bikes last a lot longer than most people. And maybe because I don't ride in the dust that much, but when I'm changing it, and I'm looking for stuff to kind of catch the problem before it really starts. So here we go. Aaron is from Fiji. Okay, I have not ridden in Fiji, sir. You win. You win an award. I would send you something, but I don't want to figure out what it costs to send something to Fiji. But you guys have good surfing there, that's for sure. So rocky, gravelly, and sand dunes. That sounds like the beach. So, and he likes my cat. Hopefully you don't want to eat it. I said that out loud. Dan Parker. GYTR hydraulic clutch kit. Do all the Brembo levers work with the Brembo purchase? Can I use KTM Brembo lever with the Yamaha GYTR master cylinder? #Blue Crew. You know what, Dan? This is one of the questions. So one of the 9 out of the 10 questions. This is the one that I would have to refer to a reference manual to find out. And the answer is I do not know. But I do know that Brembo is very specific about their levers, and they have their own levers. I'm sure there's a lot of other ones, but it wouldn't be unlike Yamaha or any other manufacturer to contract with Brembo to make something that was very specific only to them. So you would have to check on that. I have not used many Yamaha hydraulic clutches yet. I do like hydraulic clutches, but like Eli Tomac on his Yamahas, I'm fine with the cable. So Bimako says, I was thinking it was the heat causing the fade because the filter is pretty much out of the sun. Yeah, and the way the bike leans, like when it's on the side stand, it is out of the sun. So it could be chemicals. Yeah, stuff that you're leaving. Mikey Burton kind of throws that out there. It could be chemicals that are causing it, and because I definitely know that some stuff, some of those bike washes and stuff are pretty harsh. They're a little bit acidic, and that could do it. And then black items fade to a gold color from sun rays. And yes, I know this. A lot of my flex handlebars, which are now, how long is Fasst Company making flex handlebars? It's a long time. I've got some that are like faded to gold. They actually look pretty cool. But and then hi from Council, Idaho, and she loves my cat. That's Lisa Kundrick. Yeah, thanks. My cat likes everybody. Yeah, so she's hanging out. She's sitting on my seat of my motorcycle over there, watching for predators coming into the garage so she can attack them, because she is the house attack cat. Let's see if there's any other questions that I kind of missed in there. No, I think we got most of them up to date right now, but that's my opening monologue. I think it's time for another little snip of the Arita. So we'll do that, and then I'm going to show you some stuff on my bike. Thanks to the Rabaconda guys. By the way, I do use Rabaconda, like right behind me, right around that corner. There is my tire changing section of the shop. I do a lot of tire and moose testing out here. So, I'll take that one. A couple other things. So some stuff I've been working on around here is I had a number of KTM fuel pumps and stuff, and here's another one over here in this box. I've got to be careful not to get it mixed up because I built a little test bench to test these things. And I'm kind of going through these different ones and trying to figure out what was going wrong with them. Interesting that, so on this one, you can see I have a new filter, a new made in Turkey. This is dangerous, having this this filter on here right now. And it's kind of set to, see, this is the reason, and it's dripping a little bit of gas. This is the reason that these clamps are not put back on here. I have a bunch of these, but these are prone to failure. This, if it says made in Turkey, it's a turkey. So just so you know, but it's ready to go back. See, this one here is also made in Turkey, and it's one of the ones that I pulled out, and it's all, it basically blew up and was just squirting fuel out here. It's probably the one that came out of that one, but that one's, I'm waiting for a better fuel filter. This one here has a better fuel filter in it. So as you can see, this one is ready to go back together with the better fuel filter. But when I put the fuel filter on, because this one didn't seem to be leaking, it had another problem. So this, the pressure regulator that goes up in here, was the problem on this particular unit. It actually goes in, it goes in kind of right up here on the top by the mount. And this is the bleed hole. So I've made a little note on that to say that it's bad, as well as this one that's bad, because I had two of them that was the problem with the filter. It wasn't, the filter was fine, the pump, everything in the pump was fine. It was this little part that went bad. So these are the kind of things that I have kind of sitting out here that we're testing. And when I was learning about like what makes these things go bad, I have a bunch of them torn apart. I actually cut one all apart. So I cut the whole, cut the motor apart, check the rotor, which is this guy right here. Check the rotor, was looking at the, the vanes where it's spinning to try to say, hey, what goes inside of this? What goes bad? And this is where my, my kind of monkey brain kind of works on this stuff. If you ever wonder, by the way, where that black color comes from the filters, here's the contacts inside of the fuel pump. But I took one all apart to find out what it was, and there was actually, so this goes inside of here, and this rotor spins on this, and you can see where, if you look, you could see this is actually like a dished surface. And so this copper and that carbon is what's making the filter turn black. But when I took this one all apart, it was actually, there was a little bit of wear in this rotor that was causing it so it wouldn't build up the right amount of pressure. So that's how we test stuff around here. And usually it's not just one thing. I collect stuff from a few different people to figure out how this stuff all works. So again, here's like the whole casing, all the stuff that, I cut apart to figure out how everything was working and see where the problems were. But that's the level we go to test some of these things. So I'm not just going off my, something some guy said on the internet, what his buddy told him, and then I shared a picture of the one that was broken and then told everybody that they're all junk. So that's the questions. But we're going to go back to the chat, by the way. So if you have questions, answer them in the chat. My name is Jimmy Lewis. This is Tech Talk Taco Tuesday. This is what we do on Tuesday nights. I answer your motorcycle and motorcycle product related questions live. 9 out of 10 answers come right out of this cranium. Larry Giles says, this is LG. Want to hear about the Pirelli tires and how they are performing? Sand, open desert, and rocky trail. What are you recommending? So I am running mostly. Well, it depends on the bike. On my 500, I'm running all different kinds of stuff because I'm testing some other stuff now. But I'm running the it's the mid hard. So it's the MX32. Is it MX32 mid hard? What's the name of the damn tire? I have to go look in the other. My spare wheel's out there. Hold on one second. Where is it? So it was I've been running a bunch of them, so I kind of forget. But it's the XC, the Scorpion mid hard is what I'm running, kind of both front and rear for the most part. I've been running the MX Extra. I used to really like that tire, but the last run through here, I've had a little bit of kind of chunking on the tires that I wasn't too stoked on. I ran the mid softs, not that good on hard terrain. And then I ran the Gara Cross and then also the MT16. So I've been running through all the different tires to get a good feel for all of them. The Gara Cross is really good on the rear. I was really impressed with that down in Baja. I thought it worked really good. So mid hard for the Western United States would kind of be my go-to. Mikey Burton asks, how do you like mooses? I just put them in the 450. I love mooses. I'm kind of like almost exclusively on mooses now. I've been mostly running nitro mooses. I actually have been testing some of their new stuff. But I've been running Michelin's nitro mooses, Pirelli ones, Metzler ones, and then a few others. Moose balls. I actually need to get Moose Balls has some new ones that they don't even require lube that I'm going to give a try to. But I've been running all these different mooses. I like them. I don't know if I would like them for motocross because you can't control the air pressure each day. The mooses degrade and they'll go through. If you know what the prime spot is and you have a lot of money, you can just use them just when they're prime. But I usually start with rally ones, and then they're hard, and then I start running them for like dual sport, and then I start running them for enduro, and then I run them for extreme enduro. So they kind of get a life cycle. And I will cut them and stuff them when they start getting a little bit soft. So there is a lot of tuning involved with mooses, and you got to kind of like learn how they work. My cat is attacking something over there. Good kitty. How big is your shop in square footage? A lot. It's a big shop. I think it's 3,000 square feet or something like that. So MWBG78 says, just joined. Have you already done a shop tour? It'd be cool to see what you have. Yeah, a lot of people want to see what I have. I would start with my gun collection and then my attack cat. But no, we're not really doing a shop tour. This is more about the stuff I have in this little studio shop. Call this the dirty shop. If you go through that door, there's actually a suspension room, a clean shop that's where we do engine rebuilds. A lot of times do engine rebuilds on this table here, but it's dusty out here in Valley of the Dirt People. This is live from Pahrump, Nevada. Dusty. And so we have the clean shop for doing stuff when we open things up. And so yeah, we've got all the stuff you need to work on a motorcycle and tests different things. So yeah, I have a lot of Husabergs. If you didn't know, I've got really nice Husabergs. Bimeko has a question about my Tenere. Oh, wait a minute. You need to use fuel injection screw clamps on my oil. I could if I was having a lot of problems with them and having to take them apart out in the field, I would definitely do that. But I actually carry all the stuff to use those crimp clamps as well. But yeah, it would probably be, yeah, I could probably one up and do that, but I don't have to do that much. So okay. So BMevico, on your Tenere, do you turn off the ABS or actually physically bypass the unit? I was watching Cody Webb's video where he bypassed the ABS unit and removed one of the front calipers to save some weight. So no, what I do on my Tenere is I remove the sensor and essentially fault the sensor on one of the wheels. And so I do it a couple of ways. Sometimes I just take the little 8mm bolt out and pull that sensor out and just zip tie it to itself. Some of my wheels do not have the sensor ring on it, so it instantly faults it because I don't want the ABS. I've been trying to get a kit from Galfer. They evidently have this, although I haven't been able to get it. G Brakes, by the way. G Brakes makes really good brake lines. They have a bypass kit. And I think I would probably do that to save some weight and take that unit off the bike. And then just run straight brake lines. As long as that unit is not doing any sort of boosting of the brakes, I would hate to lose some brake power. But I haven't got there. I don't really need to at this point. I'm pretty happy with how it's working. Removing the one front rotor, if you're really looking for that little bit of weight advantage and you're mostly riding off-road, that works. It does. I did it on my KTM 950 and was pretty happy with it. But you also need to make sure that when you take that caliper off, you have to redo the master cylinder because you want to have the right kind of brake bias. And a lot of times when you take it off, that front brake becomes a little bit too, we'll call it snappy. You lose some of the feel that you ordinarily would have. So kind of be aware of that if you're going for that. And I kid you not, just like I complain about those front disc brake rotor things, like when you put one disc rotor and you're on the street, you can feel the bike torque. So blame me, I am too sensitive. So there we go. But mine's pretty much stock with just the sensor removed is how I do it. Some people actually pull the fuse. and then I have evidently I have an ECU, and supposedly I have the tuning kit and I can go in there and turn it off. Although the guy that sold me it and told me all that stuff would work cannot tell me how to do it. So there we go. He also told me he just kept telling me it makes a lot of power. It makes a lot of power. And his tune didn't fix my throttle response issue, but it makes a lot of power. So there we go. And Beam Echo picked up an Aprilia RS 660, and now I'm really liking the new Aprilia Touareg Rally 660. Okay, this show is brought to you by Yamaha, and if you want to get the best adventure bike known to man, like I have, you should go get a Tenere. I would just roll my Tenere in here in profile, but you can go watch my vlogs on my Tenere. Someone asked me what I did to my Tenere. I said I don't remember anymore. My Tenere is awesome. Watch the vlogs, and I'm running Pirelli Scorpion rally tires on that thing, and they are insane for off-road. Really good. So yep, and the Rabiconda machine makes light work of moose tire changing. Yes, it does, Mikey. Actually, you should come in here one of these times. Just come down here and help me co-host this show. I'm pretty sure you have a couple things to add to the collection. Jeremy Franklin says, here from Oregon, east of the Cascades, high desert country. Awesome. That's some nice riding out there. Good adventure bike riding out there. High desert. And Matt Parks wants to know if I still like the Coors Light. Let me tell you about beer. I generally like the beer that's in my hand. That's the way I go. But I do have a thing for the Miller High Life, the champagne of beers. Not a sponsor of the show. But yeah, I'll if somebody handed me a Coors Light right now, I'd drink it because my throat's getting dry from all this jabbering. And Devil's Roll, is that a QA50 back there? You have a very sharp eye, and yes, it is. So that is a QA50. My wife's friend had that. It's all original. I mean, it had the original fuel lines on it, and it stopped running. And so she drug it out here, and we pulled the carburetor off and ultrasonic cleaned it. And we basically, it still has the original air filter in it. I'm not a restoration person, so I'm like, oh, should we do this? Should we do that? We're just going to get it running again. She has no intention of selling it, and so I ordered a carburetor rebuild kit. Believe it or not, you can find these on the internets, and yeah, it's so it's coming back together. And the coil and condenser, which is a single unit on that thing. It was funny because I went in and I adjusted the points. I somehow remembered from my XR80 days how to adjust points to make sure it was right. And so the points seemed like they were working. We kind of got a little bit of a spark in there, but I think the condenser is bad in it. So, for about $40, I ordered all the parts, and they'll be here in a couple weeks. Who knows where they're coming from? And I'll get that thing back together. And B. Melko says, great insight. Thank you. I've learned so much listening to this show for the past 3 years. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's why I do this. I want people to be a little bit more knowledgeable, to kind of understand that, most of this stuff it's easy to do and easy to figure out, and you shouldn't be intimidated by it. And you sure as hell shouldn't listen to some of these ding dongs that come and tell you everything's going to blow up and break, and you need to buy this, you need to buy that. Hey, there's some really good products out there, but I always say before you go and get something, ask yourself what you're really trying to accomplish. Mark Daniels is going Modelo, Pacifico, Dos Equis, Odelay, Mark. Jaime Luis approves of your beers. I'm not the most interesting man in the world, though. Let's see. Mikey Burton has a question. How often do you take off your fork seal dust covers and clean all that? I tend to pull off the dust cover after a really muddy race versus every amount of rides in dust. There's some emojis and some typos in there, Mikey. You got crazy with your fingers. I understand. So out here, I rarely ever take my dust covers off because they do their job. They keep it clean. In the like I said, in the mud, it kind of depends on what kind of mud it is. So if it's a really fine, like silt mud that's going to kind of work its way past the dust wiper, because the dust wiper is kind of like it's not a really tight seal, and it's meant to kind of scrape off the big pieces. But if you were to splash mud on there and you let it dry, and it kind of leaves that sort of film on there, that's what's gonna kind of slide up past that dust slider and then kind of get up in the seal. The seal will generally wipe it, but it acts like friction and it can kind of start wearing out the seal. A lot of times what happens then is that dust, or when it dries or it gets knocked off, it starts falling up and caking around the inside of the dust seal. And then you have this stuff now, when moisture introduces itself, it redoes the process and it's acting like a grinding paper. So if you are in muddy conditions, and muddy conditions means that wet, sloppy stuff, I would definitely take a look at them. But, out here in the desert, we rarely have, the dust seal does the dust seal job and we don't have a problem. It's really when that mud kind of adheres and it's able to travel past the dust seal and get up into that area that it becomes problematic. And then, of course, after time with that grit and stuff working up and down the fork leg, it will wear on the seal. And so, yeah, that's the answer. And Devil's Rumble says, are you going to show off your go-kart plaque? If I was in my other studio where I don't have all these other cool things to touch and play with, I definitely would show off my go-kart plaque. Do you want to hear a story? Is it story time? Because I don't want Mikey to be driving and texting, because that's difficult. So let me have a little bit of story juice here, and we'll tell you about where Jimmy went last weekend. Luckily, I was allowed to go to the Hot Shoe Hall of Fame. And this is a yearly event held in downtown Las Vegas on Fremont Street, put on by Gene Woods at the Gene Woods Racing Experience. And if you ever want to go race go-karts, get a hold of me and I'll race you at go-karts. Because this year, I'm the 3-time, it's 3 fingers there. I have a hard time, my hands don't work very, okay. 3-time champion of champions. I beat out no other than Jerry Bernardo, who allegedly practiced more than me and on the all-time ranking is higher than me and has a better lap time than me, but somehow my Thursday at Glen Helen prowess allowed me to dodge most of the testosterone that was flying around that track and become the 3-time champion of that particular event. I wonder what measurement this is. Is it a 1-ounce cup or 2? Not really sure. But what an awesome event. Lifetime achievement was Eddie Lawson. That was really cool. Jeff Emig was there. He got abducted. Rex Staten. I saw Rex. I used to so Rex was, I would say, done racing way before I was ever anything, but he got into desert racing when I was pretty fast at desert racing. And I had a few battles with Rex out in the desert where luckily I was crazy back then and I could get away from him because I think he wanted to kill me most of the time. But between Rex Staten and Gary Jones, I learned more about how to block pass. And it was mostly at Glen Helen. And it was crazy because every time we get into these battles where we bump into each other out on the track, just on a practice day, I thought the guy was going to want to come and kill me back at my truck. And you go back to the truck, it's like, hey, Jimmy, how's it going? And Rex has a higher pitched voice, and he doesn't seem like the dude he is. He's a different dude on the track. And Gary Jones was actually the exact same way. These guys are old guys and they're legends and they're badasses. And I'm stoked that I got to ride dirt bikes with them and have them, scrape some paint and almost knocked me on my ass a few times. So, anyways, and the invite to Gene Woods go-kart racing experience. No, it's you can go there from 12 a.m. to 12 p.m. any day. It's $30 a race. You can get $5 off. I can probably get you a better discount if you email me. But if you email me, don't just say, hey, Jimmy, I want a discount from all your sponsors. Because somebody did that to me, and I don't have a discount for the one thing they wanted, the main thing they wanted the discount for, and I told them that. And I said, hey, if you would have just entered Rooster Endo, kind of like tonight, if you would have entered Rooster Endo, you would be $100 richer at Moto right now. So Moto, a sponsor of the Rooster Endo segments, which we are not having because nobody submitted their bike. And if you're listening to this, go take a nice picture of your motorcycle, send an email to jimmy@dirtbiketest.com. Tell us a little bit about your motorcycle, why you did the modifications you did. You can shoot a picture in your garage. I'll complain about it. But yeah, me and my cat will sit around. We'll judge your photo. I mean, talk about what your photo is. Do not step on the keyboard, ding dong. You could shut the whole show down. You're getting that evening frisky, aren't you? Here, go. You got to go down. There you go. Get off the table. There we go. Cats, mind of their own. So yeah, send in a submission for Takamoto's Rooster Endo. I was gonna do another. I had another segment that it's the Climb product of the week. That's the other segment that I was gonna do tonight for sure. And so here is the official Climb segment of the week. Let me put that down. Climb has beanies on their website. Dude, these are the best beanies, especially when it's cold. It's kind of cold out here tonight. Not super cold. We haven't really had a winter. But it's a nice knit beanie. It's got, your little logos and stuff like that. But inside here, this material, it's not the woven stuff. It's like fleece. And it's so nice. And so if you have a heat expelling cranium because your brain's trying to explode, it's like a nuclear weapon inside of there, and you need to contain some of that, you should wear a Climb beanie like mine. So this is the Climb product of the week. They're not that expensive, but by far and away the best beanies that I've ever worn. We used to give these away at this riding school I used to have. We would put a little patch on it, and it'd be a graduate patch. So that's the product sponsorship. Oh wait, by the way, Rabaconda, they don't make tequila. They make a really good tire changing stand. So if you're into changing tires, and what else did I have? Oh, some bulletproof design stuff. If you have a dirt bike and you want to protect it, you want to go with bulletproof designs. And I got these right here. These are going on a KTM 300 that I have right out around the corner there. Of course, the shark fin. This is the chain guide deflector and the fork lug protector. Those are some of the things over there. The bigger piece is the radiator guards. And I actually was trying to get my remote camera so I could take you and show you some of the dents that my bike has in it. I wish I had the radiator guards in that bike right there right now. I have the swing arm protector and the good chain guide and all that stuff like that, but it sure would be nice if I had the other one, the radiator guards to stop the damage from occurring. Okay, so if you guys have any questions in the chat, I'd really be stoked to see where everybody's from. We've got a lot of people out there, a lot of viewers out there. It would really help if you subscribe to this podcast. Oh, go watch Trevor's video. So Trevor went and raced a National Hare and Hound on a KLX 300. And he was pretty happy with how he did, but leave it to me to mention to Trevor that I ended up winning the Incas Rally back in 19, I don't remember what it was, on a KLX 300. So, I know he struggled to finish a desert race in that thing, but I told him, if you have, and he said you didn't have to stop and try to get really good GoPro footage. That was his excuse, by the way. So I would leave some comments on that. And speaking of that, we're going to go to the YouTube comments that we have from all of our stuff on the internets, because we go riding too much, so we don't answer the questions like we should. But we will answer them. I will answer all of your questions on the show. So if you comment on one of our YouTube videos, we generally call it up on this show. And I just spilt my my little bit of tequila there. I'm gonna have to get another one. So we answer them on the show. So I'm going to the YouTube comment section. Trevor's video got a lot of comments, but not like the video on the KTM electric starter sprag clutch repair. which is on the KTM 250 and 350 motor. I did a quick little video on how to replace it. He said, "Thank God mine sounds the same, yet it doesn't even try to engage anything." I thought it was going to be a lot more in depth than that. So I don't know how to take that. Did he want a more in-depth video where I showed him exactly how to remove the broken part and put the new part back in? Did you want part numbers or prices, or did you want to see me like do a dance or maybe have a banger reel of riding the bike? I don't know what you wanted, and I can't help you anymore, but it shows you how to get the damn thing out and put a new one in, and then your bike is fine. And it shows you the noise it makes when it's bad. So sorry I couldn't be of any more assistance. And then conquering the Big Bear hard route, and this is another time when Trevor rode a KLX 300. He shot it out against the CRF 300. He says, "This is funny to watch. $6,000 stock bikes killing these 15 to 25 grand bikes. I was really worried about the stock handlebars on those drops. You probably should have made that upgrade." No, actually, Trevor probably should not have crashed. And I tell him this all the time. So here is another one. So now we're going to do, his video is proof you don't need a $12,000 race bike to compete. And Trevor, again, took a KLX 300 and he rode a National Hare and Hound. He says, let's see, the guy in the black and the guy in the new Husky have terrible trail etiquette. So, and then somebody says, everybody who ever wrote about a KLX 300, he said KX 300, but KLX 300, knows about the false neutral. Maybe Kawasaki could rectify this after many years. As a winner of an international rally on a KLX 300, I don't remember a false neutral. So sorry. And then Rock Pengino says, this settles it. I'm putting a horn on my Husky. Well, I'll tell you what, horns are illegal in AMA competition. Ask me how I know. And then Beta has one, thinking of swapping it for an old Plymouth Roadrunner horn. That would be good. Ditch the mirrors, the tail garbage, the muffler, full stuff, stiff on clickers, and you would have been way faster. And that's from Stabby Fura 5280. I should probably go to Stabby Fura's YouTube channel to find out how they did in a National Hare and Hound on a stock bike. And the muffler, like, if you're going to do the muffler on that bike, you're going to have to go into the fuel injection and do some tuning, and you're going to have to do a lot of other stuff. It runs the way it runs just fine if you don't mess with it. So, and Trevor didn't mess with it. That's why the mirrors were on there. John Jackson says, I have trail ridden the CRF 250L with guys on 450 race bikes, and passing in the tight stuff with the horn is very satisfying. He wasn't in a race because he doesn't seem like a cheater. Me too on the old 300L with better suspension. Leaving the indicator on the side as you pass them is also nice. So Trevor has ignited a fan base of mid-sized dual sport bike riding guys that are just feeding it to everybody who was on their big Husky with $5,000 a mod. Homie on the dual sport Husky was wild. And then Griffey says, I was thinking the same as watching like I was going to wreck himself or someone else, and behold, a few more turns, he was down with another rider. I would have been furious behind him. You know what I need to do, actually, is I actually probably should play this video as we're watching it and then see if I can kill the sound. And you can watch some of Trevor's antics on the on this bike, if I can find a way to get it up on the screen without destroying my entire, because I have to use one screen to make another screen work. So let me see if I can do this. Welcome to my hell. If I had a producer, by the way, they could do all this stuff and make my life easier. So let me see here. So I take this, if I put this up here, we're gonna see how this works. I could really wreck the show, but we'll find out. Uh-oh. May have just done it, but we'll find out. So now I have to go here and I have to go yeah, my channel, which is here. And then I can go here. And it might get really loud for a second. Hold on.
If you want to see it all, you need a car that can go the distance. The Subaru Forester Hybrid. 580.
Okay. See, there's Trevor honking his damn horn. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can get this to where I need it to be. Trevor and his horn.
Well, Trevor, I'm not sure why you're doing that. I'm not feeling sorry for you, but
remember, the first bump you're okay.
Yes.
The second bump's all right, and the third bump you're in big trouble.
Okay, so now you can hear me and you can watch Trevor's horn. So this is where it just gets terrifying watching Trevor watch these things. I've actually got to turn my audio down on this so I can even hear. I'm going to go back to reading the comments on the thing if I can figure out how to do this. Here we go. 100% spot on, especially the part about the price of the new KTM. $16,000 for a new dirt bike is insane. What is KTM thinking? The new KLX 300 and KLX 230 are enough bikes for 90% of the trail riders. Check out the IRC tire guys to see what the new 230s can do. Okay, squeeze the trigger. It says dirt bike test. That's the name of your channel, so that's what you did. I say bravo. I can see you sitting around with your friends and talking about what bike you might want to test. Then you decide to test a dual sport motorcycle on a real world off-road race. I have owned and ridden dual sport bikes my whole life. And when that's the kind of bike you ride, you always wonder what are the limitations. I really enjoyed the whole video, well made and well edited. It's cool you interviewed real racers and some legendary off-road dudes. They all probably thought what a crazy idea, but they were very kind and gave you good thoughts. I have considered buying one of the dual sport motorcycles. Oh, I lost my place here. It's hard to do this. Lots of stuff here. This is pathetic. I would have ghost rode my bike into that guy right there, by the way. Let's see. I really can't see myself buying one because I think I would be disappointed. My last dual sport motorcycle was a 1993 Honda XR650L. It was a very heavy bike to ride off-road, but the power and stock suspension was probably better than any of the entry-level dual sport bikes in the market today. Well, guess what? You can still buy one of those today. I would love to have a KTM 500 dual sport, but for the money that bike would cost, I could probably buy 2 or 3 older used dual sport bikes that would be good enough, and I would have a few buddy bikes for some friends and family. Thanks for the video and keep up the good work. Rippin', rippin', rippin'. By the way, I'm 59 years. I've been in love with motocross and off-road since 1980. Says squeeze the trigger. And Drew Kleinbach says it's time to put horns on the bikes and start hawking at everyone and everything. I don't know about that. So let's see if what we have here in the my thing is I'm wrecking the video. So good thing you're listening to this as a podcast, and then you realize that I'm not really wrecking the video. Now my cat's jumping up here. She wants some tequila. Too many riders stay seated. Hardly any body bike separation at all. Terrible form and techniques by many. Go watch AJ and Rhino, says Rider 65. You should probably watch Jimmy Lewis Off-Road, I think. Trevor actually looked like he was sitting down too much to me. If you want me to comment, let's see here. Somebody says now take. Eric Green says now take a 226 Beta Alp or 4.0 and a 348 cc and do it again, please. $6,700, 313 pounds, now available in the USA. Eric Green sounds like he works for Beta. By the way, this show is brought to you by Yamaha, and I was really disappointed that Trevor took a green bike and not a blue bike. He has a TW200. It's literally sitting next to him when he does his interview, his sit-down interview in this video, and he's not helping our sponsorship proposal as we go there. Eric Corn says the stock shift lever is way too short. A longer aftermarket shifter would avoid most of the neutrals you got. Great, ride on. Uh-oh, another commercial. Hold on. My cat's attacking the phone. I gotta skip this ad. I'm gonna have to pay for that. Okay, so at the end of the video, because you didn't watch it, Eric, Trevor shows his bent shift lever, by the way. And if it was longer, it probably would have been wrapped around the foot peg. So know your size. Go race a hare and hound with your longer shift lever. Brian GC 1972 says the whole idea of the test was to prove durability and capability of a stock bike. Just add the proper tires and a skid plate and go race it. A much better assessment of the bike's capabilities. Thank you. I would like you to try it on a DRZ4, says Ken. Okay. Just, you can send us money, and then we will do what you want. I like how much people ride with their feet off the foot pegs. I think Trevor bagged on some of these guys. He's not going to make any friends. He's probably not going to be allowed out in the desert anymore after the end of the video. But like, none of these guys are watching our channel anyways. Now that was a little gutsy. But then watch these two guys. They're going at it, and they take each other out. I wouldn't have been so nice. Eric Koch says, great ride, man. You have guts racing it. I would remove the mirrors, though. It would be interesting if you did some mild mods to the bike, like an ECU flash, and open the airbox, and maybe some suspension mods to see how well you would do on it then. Were you happy with the tire and tube inserts? There's our buddies there. I would have rode right over his bike, even if his leg was underneath it. He says, so it's a stock bike test. And if you did any of that stuff, it's like putting makeup on a pig. Like if you're going to start modifying a bike like this, get another bike. It kind of shows you what you're able to do with it. And there he goes. His buddies are taping ribbons all over his bike. And Jim Haywood says, it looks like a fun for an intermediate like me. The other riders were the problem. Might have tried on his 95 KLX with suspension and basic mods. Same bike, only 60 or so pounds lighter and more fun. Would be better on my KX though. Great vids. Big Bear was awesome. And so this goes on and on. So if Kawasaki donated that bike and knew you were racing and they didn't touch it, question mark, I've heard those Japanese motorcycle companies are very, very competitive, but I wish you the best. Well, Brian Oliver, Kawasaki probably didn't know exactly what Trevor was doing. So there we go. I'm going to go back to here. And that's our video. I'm going to pause this thing here. So go check that video out. Give it a watch. Give it a like. Subscribe. Share. Send it to your grandma because she probably wants one of those bikes so she can put it on the back of her motorhome. All the things that you need to do to help out a dirt bike test here in our quest to provide the best information we possibly can on this amazing pod show. And guess what? My other there's the restream chat. There we go. So okay, we're gonna go back. Lionel Hall's in Roseville, California. Thanks. And Matthew is watching from Blue Ridge, Georgia. It's time to go to bed, Matthew. This show is not that important to be staying up late. If you have any technical questions, I'm going to do one last round of technical questions here before I sign off. My buddy Mike Shirley, who was the guest host a couple weeks ago, is actually pulling in because he's here to collect his bike from Mexico. And I just heard the vehicle pull up. So here's the deal. Mark Kellen 357 said, would radiator guards do much for your 500? I would think the big tank would at least provide crush protection. Mark, you're exactly right. I got Oh, you bought tacos? No way, come on in. Yeah, we're just having tequila over here. Mike brought tacos. This is insane. So the radiators, and so my header and my radiators have some nice dents in it. So it's probably rocks getting thrown up off the front tire. And the Bulletproof Design radiator guards, I'll grab a set right here to show you. I have one that's actually dismounted here. So on this radiator guard, for instance, so if you look at this radiator guard, it has this part right here. And I kid you not, the dents are right in here. And so the radiator is just, the stock radiator guard comes down and it's flat across here. And they put this extra section and rocks are flying up off. And so if you have the gas tank, for sure it's going to help with this. There's no problem with that. That's going to help. And this guard has a really beefy, billet edge to it. But it's the stuff that was flying up and hitting here that was problematic. So if I had the button I pushed, and it'd make the more you know sound. You want a cat? Or did you see a dog? There's a dog in here too. There's a dog roaming around here. I don't know where it came from. No, but they like me, I guess. And Dave is from Geneview, Missouri, MO. Chris Real's here somehow. Frank White from ATK. It was interesting. Frank called me the other day. He was going to go on a podcast. He said, I'm the most friendly podcast guy that he knows. Cheers, Frank. Thank you. That's awesome. It's because somebody wanted me to do an interview with Bernard Leitner, who's Horst Leitner's son, who Horst started ATK, and Frank was the investment group that bought ATK. And so there's a lot of ATK stuff in my day today. Yeah. Horst, there's a lot of Horst stuff. He makes the bed extender and made crazy mountain bike stuff. Horst did. Jeremy Franklin says, I'm looking at getting a used KTM 500. What years would you recommend, and how many hours are too much on a used bike? He says, great show, man. Jeremy, thank you for saying great show, man. And because you said that, I will answer your question without referring to a reference manual. There is honestly no bad years of a KTM 500. The package as delivered, even back in 2012, was pretty tight. The early ones we always called them smokies. They could leak a little bit of oil past the valves. Sometimes there was a little inconsistency with the rings, the ring material versus the cylinder wall material, and so they would smoke a little bit, but they were relatively indestructible, and they stayed that way. In 2016 was the last year of the first gen, and then they made some big changes every 2 to 4 years with the bike. And as my buddy Ray Conway likes to say, they kept making less motorcycle. The bikes got lighter. So they took some things out, like they made it so there was only compression dampening on one side and rebound dampening on one side of the fork. They lightened some stuff in the motor. For the life of me, I haven't noticed the durability of anything go down a significant level. They had different characteristics, and in all honesty, each one of them has a strength and a weakness. The old ones tended to be a little more stable, a little more planted. They were heavier. That's just the way it is. But as they got lighter, they got a little more agile, and they got a little more peppy. And then as the emission stuff started creeping in, the heavy emission stuff in like 2019, the ECUs got a little bit more locked down. But this bike behind me, it's basically box stock. The only thing that's really been done to it, it has the stinking stock muffler on it. I just rode to Cabo San Lucas on this thing. The reeds popped out of the air filter, and I like them in there, and I just took them out for the convenience of not having to put them back in. And that's it. It's stock from the air filter all the way to the tip of the exhaust. And it's a 2021. Mike has a Husky. Yours is 25. It did the whole thing. He's got a big gas tank on it. Stock muffler still? No, you got an FMF. He has an FMF on it. Oh, and he's got an ignition box. So he's just like all of you guys, and he wants to buy all the stuff. But my bike was so much faster than his. I was smoking him nonstop, if you really need to know. So, anyways, so Jeremy, hopefully I answered your question. And the price fluctuates kind of wildly. If what would I be looking for? Oh, hours on the used bike. I would honestly buy one if I knew if it was stock. And here's the thing: if I'm looking at one and it's pretty much stock, that's a gem. When you used to have all the ECUs and all the stuff on it like that, you never know where it's been. And if it's been rebuilt, that's a downside for me. If you gave me a 250-hour been rebuilt and a 500-hour never been rebuilt, I would go with the 500-hour never been rebuilt. Because the other thing, and I've rebuilt a couple of these things, they seem like they always work best when they've never been rebuilt. So they just keep running. And I don't ever want to rebuild them. They're generally pretty easy to work on, but I just, I put top ends in a couple of them, and I know the things to look for and stuff like that. Lisa Kendrick says, Jimmy, you could do this course on a 1150 GS. You are grossly mistaken, Lisa. That was back in the former life when I thought I was a lot better than I actually was. And it's Tuesday already, Gary Drummond. So yes, it is. Anyways, Mike is eating tacos in front of me right now. It's making me very hungry. But again, this show wouldn't be possible with the help of our sponsors. They've been rolling up on the screen. Did you just get 3 of them? Oh, we got more. Okay, good. Yeah, awesome. You got the 9 taco combo. Yeah. So yeah, I was listening to some other talk show motorcycle podcast guy complaining about taco prices. He got like 2 for $17. Not in Prump, my friends. 3 for $5. This is Valley of the Dirt people. We do it right out here. So yeah. Mike drove down from Reno for this deal. Prump is good times. And we have a kids motocross track. So cheers to you. So everybody, hey, thanks for joining in. It's really awesome to see everybody. The 36 million people that have joined on us tonight. That's great. If you had more questions or because there's a delay right now, I'll be signed off by the time. Ask them in the chat. I will find them on the things and we'll get back to you on the next show. We're here almost every Tuesday night. It's my penance. And if I don't do it, I might go to motorcycle riding in dust and crap. And I really don't want to do that. So cheers. I've been having out of the thimble. I got to look at the measurement on this. So it's like milliliters. I don't see the ounces. So I know how much I had. Okay. So with that, everybody, we will we'll see you. Oh, wait. Hold on a second. BMEC, I've seen a fully built ECU and exhaust 2022 era 500 is only 25 hours for around $9,000. $9,000? No, you picking those things up for about $4. And tacos aren't as cheap as they used to be. This is true. Okay, everybody. Thanks again to all the sponsors: Seat Concept, Bulletproof Designs, Yamaha, Rally Navigator. Yeah, Rally Navigator. And you should have asked me about my setup. I was going to show you my setup and what I carry in my backpack, but nobody wants to know. So we'll save that for another show. Put it in the comments, and we'll see you on the trail. So I'm going to stop streaming. This is easy. This doesn't have nearly as many